Factories in China's southwestern city of Chongqing stayed shut today as power curbs for industries that were supposed to end yesterday remained in effect. The heat wave baking the country has driven up demand for cooling, while hydroelectric dams in the region run dry. Officials say they will relax power restrictions in an orderly fashion once the weather improves. Meteorological services expect temperatures to start falling, but some factories say they will remain shut for the rest of the week. Chongqing also battling wildfires as dry conditions feed the flames. More than 1,600 firefighters are trying to douse a blaze that has been burning now for 4 days. Temperatures are still expected to exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, China's rice harvest is in jeopardy as the drought spreads to half the country. The government is taking emergency action to help badly hit farmers. Workers are digging wells and making water pumps. Officials say more than 3 million hectares of arable land have been affected by this severe heat. Experts warn the intensity, the scope and duration of the current heat wave could make it one of the worst in world history. Well, this CNA's Low Minmin joins us live from Chongqing. Minmin, you are in Chongqing now, where the heat wave is at its worst. Tell us what the situation is like where you are on the ground.
Well, I'm in the heart of Chongqing city, and behind me you can see the skyline that normally would be lit up beautifully at night. There would be neon and laser light shows, and there would be tourists plying the river on boats. But now, because of energy conservation measures, the city is going into semi-darkness, and certainly it's not possible to take those boats now because parts of this river has dried up completely after days of scorching heat and no rainfall. Average precipitation here has dropped by 50%, causing 66 rivers and 25 reservoirs to dry up, and hydroelectric power generation capacity has also been cut by half, and that's hit Sichuan province particularly badly because they rely on hydroelectricity for 80% of their energy needs. And not only that, they sell that power to eastern China, to places like Shanghai and Zhejiang, which is why those areas are also putting in place some power conservation measures. And water levels are so low all across China that some inland shipping routes are no longer viable, and a lot of agricultural commodities get to West China via these river ports. But now these shipping times are going to be extended by as much as 5 days. It's going to push up business costs, and factories in Sichuan province were told to shut for 12 days, but now there is uncertainty over how long this would be extended day by day, depending on how quickly the heat wave dissipates.
Minmin, tourist boats, if they don't run, that is not quite so crucial. But for farmers, this is a terrible thing that's happening to them. The government is pouring $1 billion in subsidy into giving them to rice farmers. How badly do you see it? Are they affected by the heat wave?
They are very badly affected. I visited some farmland a couple of days ago, and farmers showed me crops that should have been about waist high by now. But what I saw were plants that had withered with leaves as crisp as paper. And they told me their chickens had died under the scorching heat. Over 2 million hectares of farmland across 9 provinces and 350,000 livestock are affected. Experts are telling me that the drought-affected region makes up about 2/3 of China's grain-producing region, and it could affect as much as 30% of the annual rice output. But that said, the government does have stockpile of rice that could last 6 months. So if there is a shortage of supply, they would release that stockpile to stabilize prices. But we're certainly going to feel the pinch on vegetables. Prices of vegetables and fruits. Food prices went up by over 6% year on year last month. And earlier this month, some major feed producers said they would increase the price of poultry, pig and fish feed because of rising costs of corn, soybean meal and wheat. And so, the government is pulling out all stops to address this. It shows the pressure they are under to avoid further food inflation and social instability ahead of that all-important party congress when President Xi Jinping is likely to seek a 3rd term in power.
Thanks for that. Low Minmin speaking to us there from Chongqing.